You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dads After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dads After Show.
Yeah. Just clumming it up in here, no big deal. We made our own theme songs for dads. Yeah, Bing is for doing, and we are here at AfterBuzz TV for you, doing another recap of Dads, Season 1, Episode 2, Heckuva Job, Brownie. Bam. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli, and here with me is...
I am at Jen the Jew. I just got a haircut and got a tan.
Jen,
so.
you look different.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been in the sun a lot this weekend.
You have, Jen. You have.
And I had to change up the hairstyle a little bit. So.
But
viewers, tell me if you like it. You know, tweet in. Let us know. Do you like my new look?
Aw.
Anyways, I'm Kevin John. But you already knew that, so.
You could tell, I'm sure. But Jen the Jew will be back next week, if for all of you wondering, and for all of you that miss her. But she did watch this episode, and she loved it, I'm sure, as you all did as well. I personally thought that this episode was, we all talked about last week, that, you know, we think the show's funny. It pushes the envelope. It's great. We're all Seth MacFarlane fans. We love everybody. It felt like a pilot. That's totally standard, typical, not bad or good. It just did. They introduced the characters. Still totally made me laugh. This episode, however, I felt was hysterical. And I'll just say overall, I really felt like I saw all of the actors really going for it, and especially Camilla and Veronica.
Veronica, okay.
The assistant played by, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on her name.
I forgot her name as well, but we're going to ask one of our producers to get us that information.
No, I'll remember in a second. This is why, because my brain is going like seriously 1,000 miles an hour with this. I thought this episode was hysterical.
So seeing your brain's going 1,000 miles an hour,
I don't know where to
tie it
start.
In with this episode, did you have some pop before you came here today?
No, I didn't, but if I did, it wouldn't make me be going 1,000 miles an hour. I would be
dazed.
Very relaxed. As you saw, all of the boys very relaxed when they had their pot off, which we'll get to. But the episode opens and we see they're trying to come up, as always, with game ideas. This is just something they do all the time. This is their job. And they're feeling like they're not having ideas. And Seth Green's character, Eli, is the brains behind this. You know, Veronica comes in and she says, okay, we need a game. We need a game. We need an idea. And he is feeling like he just can't. Everything he's throwing out is really boring. And they come to realize that they don't think that he's living up to his potential because he's not stoned. What did you think about that,
So
Kevin?
what do you do when you don't live up to your full potential? You go out and get yourself a nice fat blunt to roll up, smoke it, or just put it in brownies. Kids, if you're listening, that's not the way to life. Only when you're after 21.
Or if you have a medical marijuana license.
There you go. There you go.
Which clearly all these characters do have. Okay?
You know, I was going to say, when you were talking about the episode and this one being hysterical with everything, I personally think this episode probably had more improvisation and ad-libbing.
It did.
I mean, some of these scenes, honestly, it felt like the directors put on the camera and said, guys, go. Like,
well, I know that happens a lot, and you know, I have a little insider tip on the show, and I do know that, again, Martin Mull, who the last episode we talked about his line that he threw out there that was, if I knew it was pronounced Shiite Muslim, then that line was totally improv, as I'm sure there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of things we don't see, 2 scenes that get cut because of time or laughs or whatever, but I know that the opening scene, in fact, that he improv'd the... you know, he came into the office and was trying to sell his penguin meat idea to his son Warner, and then he also offered it looked like a sandwich or something with
like
penguin meat in it
or something.
to Eli, and then he said he didn't want it, and he said it's free, making a joke based on the Jewish culture, which clearly is what this show does. They pick at races and cultures and sex and all that. And too bad Jen the Jew's not here to talk about it with us.
She can totally defend her
Bad day
honor
to
on that.
miss.
Right.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm saying that's the joke. And that was totally improv.
That was all
And
improv.
so was the happy feet line as well at the end when he said happy feet and walked off.
Oh.
So clearly this guy, I mean, this is why another reason why this show is good is because Martin Mull is such a seasoned actor. Like, that's the kind of gems you're getting all the time, and you don't even realize. I mean, think about when you know that, and if you guys ever watch it back, it's funny to watch Seth Green naturally react. I mean, he just laughed. Like, he stayed in character. Obviously, he's a seasoned professional actor as well, but it was a very natural, organic laugh. Like, it's all... I just like watching shows like this. I always talk about that, where it looks like everybody's just having fun.
Right.
The show's fun. Don't take it too seriously. People freak out about the, like, racist, undertones, whatever. I mean, like you said last time, if you're watching the show, I mean, you know what to expect.
So in other words, if you're a right-wing conservative, this may not be the show for you. all
Right. Yeah.
Or if you're the president of NAACP.
If you're Rush Limbaugh, don't tune in.
Exactly.
And who wants to even talk about him anyway? So not a fan. Okay, so this scene's funny to me when they get Seth Green and they kind of sandwich him in there, and they're like, "You are disappointing us." And it's almost obviously like the opposite talk you would have if you found out somebody was on drugs. But it's the opposite, and they talk him into getting high again.
And it's funny you bring up that point, because that was the same thing I got from it. It's usually like the motivational talk. You're trying to get somebody who is an addict or, trying to rehabilitate themselves. And they're giving the same kind of talk to him, like, okay, you can do it. We believe in you, but you have to stop. Or actually, instead of stop, you have to start getting on these drugs.
And Warner was the guy that was like, he was almost like the father figure, like, we're really disappointed in you. and then we had Veronica on the other side going, like, peer pressuring. So she was like the peer pressure, and he was like the disappointment. He obviously, Eli ends up caving, decide, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this pop Brownie home. I'm gonna do this for the good of the company. Yeah. He does so. And
way to sacrifice yourself for the company. What a
sacrifice.
Right?
And his uptight father eats the brownie. And we see how pleasant he becomes.
Man. He's on cloud nine.
Cloud nine. He's relaxed. He's not as grumpy. And Eli figures this out. He's like, holy mother of God, this brownie was amazing, and I'm going to keep drugging my father because he's tolerable. And he his goal is that he really wants to, like, feel a connection with his father, and he also really wants to feel that his father loved his mother, and he wants him to say it. And, this show, it's a sitcom. It has to have a tender moment, and they still make it funny, but, that was the goal of his character this episode, was like how to get through this and how to keep drugging his dad. So A, he's tolerable, but B, he really wants him to say, I love your mom, so he can validate everything. That just will make everything better in this guy's mind.
Right.
So all of the, crap that he had to put up with his dad and that they complain about throughout the episodes in the season, I'm sure, it'll make that all better if he can just say, I loved your mother.
Yeah, you saw that he was obviously dedicated to that part, or dedicated to getting that response from his dad throughout the whole episode, which I, thought was funny. But, getting back to, I guess, kind of setting it up, like when he found out how, I guess you could say, relieved, happy, free spirit his dad became, obviously, his partner in crime was wondering, maybe I should get my dad some.
Right. I think it's kind of like they're thinking, okay, how can we make this better for everyone here? You complain about your dad too. So of course, Warner brings home the brownie and
drugs his dad.
We find out in the process though that and we've seen and feel a little bit like Camilla wears the pants in the family here. Like the
clearly.
last episode, I mean, Giovanni's character is definitely the submissive one in comparison. We saw a taste of that in the pilot, but now here is the episode where we really get to see Camilla like take charge. And
She wears the pants.
and I think she's so good at it too. And
She even took charge in the bedroom.
oh yeah.
Wow.
And you know, it's interesting because Camilla's character is definitely, like, again, more of the man in the fact that we even find out that she watches a lot of porn on her computer, which is typically a male thing to do. So we find this out, and we find out that all of a sudden Warner, you know, Camilla goes to take the laptop, and he goes, no, I want to be your laptop tonight. And then I think that's where I, in this episode, saw his little light bulb go off, like, this is when I'm going to use the brownie to my advantage because now I can distract my father. They were interrupted having sex before by him. Clearly, he stays up all night doing stuff. He keeps him awake. This is what he's going to do. Now he has a specific thing. Oh, this is what I want to use it for, to distract my dad. So he leaves the brownie, and we hear the next day at the office that he had amazing sex with his wife.
Wild animal, Discovery Channel type.
She scratched off 5 of the 7 layers of the skin on his back, right?
His epidermis was missing.
I mean, that sounds cray-cray. And he was super excited about it. He was like, I think, didn't he walk into the office with his arms raised in the air? Like,
See, coming from a man, I don't know how excited I would be about that if I know my woman manhandled me in the bed. As far as being a man, if there's one place that we want to be the man and in control, it's in those sheets.
Oh, no.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's nice, you know, for a little bit
For a
of
woman to take
domination
charge,
every now and then to mix it up.
Right.
You know, I mean, yeah, what men do. But he was a little too excited about the fact that
I know.
It's like, if anything, that would kind of make me feel emasculated.
Of course.
You know.
But I think that, and you're right, and I get that, but I think that's what makes it funny. And that's, I think, why sitcoms often do this with, and we talked about this last week, where they often make the woman, like, the one in control and the man, like, kind of always begging for something, usually sex.
Reverse the roles, yeah.
And so I think that's kind of what makes it comical. And I think even the visual of Vanessa and Giovanni, it, like, she is, like, super in control. She's got, like, great facial expressions, and she just seems like she's in charge, just visually looking at them.
Speaking of visually, I can't even visually see her picking him up and having. I don't even know how that would work with a man and a woman.
I don't know. Maybe she's really strong. But the visual of it is funny. I mean, clearly, you know, she's a woman and she probably really couldn't do that. But, the visual idea of it is funny. And so we see that now they're both super excited that they've drugged their fathers and that they have this great control over them, because you have to realize the fathers came into their lives and kind of took control of their lives, and the out of control feeling they don't like. It's giving them anxiety. They're complaining about it. They feel like children again. Now they're like, we've gained control. We've drugged our fathers. We're back to normal. Things are great. Well, Camilla finds out about this, and she has a little bit of a problem with it. That was a funny scene too. I loved the turn that Vanessa chose to do when she found out about the drugs, the facial expression. And then that's when you know, like, that woman is in control. He ran out of there. She chased him out.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
It was so funny. So funny. It was very, you know, slapsticky comedy. It was good. And then, you know, they all talk about it. They're like, okay, we were drugging you guys. Sorry. And of course the dads, you know, they think the dads have no idea. The dads knew the whole time. They're like, we were like alive in the 60s. Come on, like, we know what's going on here, and we could like smoke you under the table. And they decide to have a pot off, and this is where things get crazy. So they put the first of all,
have to be the coolest dads alive to have a pot off. Or
have you ever smoked pot with your dad?
Oh, all the time.
No, you haven't.
I never
Some
have.
people do.
I've never even drank with my father.
Some people's fathers smoke pot.
Hey, we don't judge. Hey, whatever makes your father-daughter-son relationship more merrier.
Some people do it. I'm not saying I know who those people might be, but I'm just saying some people's dads smoke pot. So that could be normal, right?
Very much so,
And,
apparently.
So this happens here on this episode. They decide to put the entire plate of brownies. Now, I don't know about you, but like one brownie for like, I mean, those are big brownies.
Break it down.
When you ingest marijuana, it's different. It physically hits you differently than when you smoke it. It enters your bloodstream differently. It's supposed to be more potent that way when you eat it.
Just so our listeners know, this is from personal experience.
This
right?
is from reading about it.
Yeah, I bet Wikipedia. Yeah.
And so I don't do drugs, okay, people. Marijuana is like, I know they call it the gateway drug. It is very mild, and I don't do it.
Yeah,
often.
you just smoke it.
I've done it before, okay? But I'll also, no, I do. This is actually just based on knowing or hearing from other people.
Everyone in LA has a friend who's a pothead.
If you eat the marijuana, the pot, if you will, it enters your bloodstream and it's more potent. So, and obviously it's done that way to be used for medicinal purposes or whatever if need be. But those brownies were huge, okay? And there was like 4 of them and they ate them all. And you see the progression of how high they get as the brownies disappear from the plate. And it gets to the point where where Warner is like in a fort, hiding in a fort, and he slips a note out. Like they're all just toast. But the boys are trying to win. They're trying to beat their dads. First of all, I thought the whole time the dads are totally going to win.
Now, just so they know, what were they playing for? What was the pot off for? What was that stake here?
Wasn't it just to see who was? I don't think there wasn't anything specific. I believe, and if we're wrong, call in or Bing it or tweet us or whatever. But I believe that it was just to show like we're cool. We can smoke you guys under the table. No, you can't, and we're gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah, it was because what's his face's dad was trying to say that he's a wussy and all this other stuff because Eli was in it from the get-go.
Warner's dad was Warner's dad was because Warner didn't want to do this.
Exactly.
He was like, we don't need to do this. Come on. He's afraid of Camilla.
Yeah.
Okay. And
he needs to get some cojones on him.
Yeah, but it's funny that he doesn't. It's funny that he doesn't have balls, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean obviously that's his character.
And it might be funny if one day, if all of a sudden one episode he comes out and like steps out of his shell and has some balls and then gets in big trouble or something. Like it's
Camila would cut him if he did that.
No, it could be funny to see him step out, but I like watching Giovanni play that guy.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of is that guy, right? I mean, I don't know him, but he plays characters that are like that guy. So anyway, so I personally thought one of the funniest parts of this episode was when Seth Green's character Eli tried to get Warner out of the fort that he made and jumped on it and like bounced off. And then he was in the refrigerator, and then finally they kind of all calm down from their crazy high, and we see the end, the goal of Eli's character. He sits down, he talks to his dad, and he says...
They share a nice moment,
They share a nice moment.
Very nice moment.
Where he kind of realizes, Eli's dad kind of realizes, well, you're trying to get me to say that I love your mother, and I really want to tell you I don't think I ever really loved anybody, which doesn't surprise you because he's so cold. And then he says, except for once you were born. And that was cute.
That's honestly a great line for any father that watched. I mean, that's incredible.
Right.
Impeccable writing there. But yeah, and I really like this emotional moment between them.
Right.
Because obviously it's a comedy throughout the whole show. It was silly, but it's you kind of need this conclusion at the end just to bring it around.
They wrapped it up, and it was a nice tender moment, and you want to see a sensitive side to Eli's father because he's very cold, but that's what makes him funny. And it was nice to see the dads kind of go off and act high and crazy and sing their little song about the Eskimo and the snow, and that it was funny. And
how did that song go again?
The Eskimo stole our snow. Oh, we just butchered it. It was good. It was funny. It was cute. It was quirky. I liked watching all the characters really kind of just be crazy. I think that it was funny to see Veronica take a little turn. She got a little more power. I liked her snarkiness. And I am looking forward to watching them continue to just go for it. And it's obvious that they're doing that. The improv's funny. I really enjoyed this episode. And I'm super excited to see what's happening next.
Yeah, me too. You know, and that's the thing I like about these kind of shows is they're unpredictable in the sense you never know how far they're going to go the next time. I mean, they're known for pushing the envelope, but I mean, are they going to explode through it next time?
There's always those zingers that get you, and they were always in them. So I'm sure next week there's going to be a couple of them. But you know, all these actors are doing a lot of press because the show's just starting. So let's get into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Just a little on Giovanni Ribisi. Of course, we've been seeing them do their rounds on Arsenio Hall and all the late night shows. And Giovanni was recently on Chelsea Lately, and he kind of touched on, you know, everybody being super up in arms and offended by, you know, their racist jokes. And he said, you know, as much as these people are ringing their bells about, you know, being offended and what have you, they're all the same people that are really laughing too, which I think is a good point, because the jokes are funny. And he also said, you know, what's so offensive about it? Honestly, all of us are just kind of like, go F yourself at this point. I think they're all overhearing it. It's like, you know that Seth MacFarlane is going to make a show that is like, we've seen, I mean, come on, do you not watch Family Guy? Did nobody see Ted? Like, everybody knows what to expect, so stop talking about it. It just gives them something to talk about. It's like the Miley Cyrus effect. Everyone just wants to talk about it. And it doesn't, it's just, I'm kind of over everyone talking about the offensive humor. It is what it is, and people still watch. Like we said, the pilot episode had 5.6 million viewers, so.
I think what's most shocking is that people are sitting here raising their eyebrows, acting like they're shocked about what Seth MacFarlane did, when clearly you know his history. Did you expect him to make a show on Bible study?
I mean, come on. And
clearly.
even if he did, that would be probably pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure he
in
probably
all
would.
fairness, the show is still a multicam sitcom. It's not that bad. Really, it's not that bad. It's funny here and there. They've got some offensive jokes. Deal with it. All right.
It's nothing worse than going to a stand-up comedy club and seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's at least they brought that to your TV set.
And I'm sure you guys all love watching anyway, so keep tuning in and watching. And by the way, for all of you watching and tuning in, please go onto iTunes, rate and comment, tell a friend, keep the conversation going. We're talking about this show because we know you guys watch it and you're like, I'm dying to hear what people are saying. We want to hear what you're saying. So thank you for tuning in and listening. And once you're on iTunes,
you can get Serial Buddies. Obviously, you're here watching this because you love comedy, and there's no other better comedy to suit all your comedic bones like Serial Buddies.
That's right.
Absolutely hysterical film. Has Maria in there, Christopher Lloyd in there. Pretty much every comedic personality from the last few decades. The Fonz. Any and everyone that you want is in there. Please go check that out. Support. You can also buy it overline at Target, at Walmart, at Best Buy.
It's readily available for you.
So accessible.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And let's do some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
I'm formulating a prediction right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of, you know, go ahead.
I'm going to jump on what you're kind of wishing for, and I'm going to say that I think Giovanni Ribisi's character, Warner, is going to try and grow some balls, and he's going to get shot down big time. And it could be really funny to watch, like, Camilla kind of let him do his thing and then get him in the end. Because she would totally get him.
Yeah, that would be hysterical, matter of fact. Yeah, you know, my thing is I really don't know what to predict. I guess the only thing that I am going to predict is that the assistant girl, what's her name again? Veronica. I predict that she is going to have some kind of ridiculous scene, conversation, or something for the next episode, because I see they're kind of building her character up. They are
building her.
And I'm just waiting for that, you know, climatic moment with her.
She had a good line this episode where he said something about when we get married or something, and she said, well, that's not going to happen because I would have killed myself.
Yes.
So I'm dying to see her kind of like go for it too. So let's go for the girls next. Camilla and Veronica next episode. We want to see them doing something. We're predicting that they're going to do something big. That's right. Great episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And Jen the Jew will be back next week, so I'll shout her out. You can find her at Jen the Jew on all of the social media. I'm Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my website.
I am Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter at Hey Kevin John, on Instagram, same thing, Facebook, Kevin John Peters, and my website, it's kevinjohn.com.
All right, thanks, guys. We will see you next week.
I love it when you
From
call me Big Papa.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. That was
Views
good.
expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.